Local teachers making news this week, gaining a temporary restraining order against state-controlled Houston ISD and plans by Superintendent Mike Miles to totally revamp how educators are evaluated. The Houston Federation of Teachers claims state law demands that formulation of teacher appraisal standards must include input from parents and teachers. Attorney Chris Tritico says the union acted to ensure any new system is fair.
It's about whether or not these employees can pay their bills, take care of their families, have a job next year. Just like they hold us accountable, we have a duty to hold them accountable.
Panel, it's just the latest controversial chapter in the state takeover, which critics continue to call dictatorial and heavy-handed. All right, Paul, what's going on here? They have a legitimate gripe, the teachers?
Well, I mean, the gripe's already been settled. So the administration has already come in, and they said they're going to use last year's assessment standards to assess teachers, and has taken everything off the table relative to this particular complaint. I think there are a couple of things that need to be thought about. First of all, what the district has been talking about, and you've heard this almost exclusively, is we want kids working on day one. We want kids to be successful academically. We think that a lot of the schools have been failing, and we're going to do something different. Who can argue with that? I think that sounds to be pretty straightforward and strong. I can understand how some teachers are finding that to be problematic, in that they're saying, well, you know, we're losing touch with our kids. I have not heard the superintendent or anyone say, you know, stop caring about your kids or anything like that. Anyone who thinks that Superintendent Miles is operating worse than prior administrations is wrong. The prior administrations were more political in my perspective. Absolutely. In a lot of the ways that they operated. What Miles is doing right now is coming in and saying all kids should be able to read and perform at grade level. And when I hear some of the pushback, including things like, well, these kids can't handle grade level work and this is too stressful for them, I'm not accepting that. I'm patently rejecting that. What they need is they need a better comms director, I think, right now, who can come out and proactively start addressing some of these problems. These are a lot of easy misses, you know, unforced errors, but it's because they're spending all of their time looking at the schools and staying out of the political realm. They need someone to handle the political realm, and they need to, you know, continue to do what they're doing, run the schools. All
right, Charles, Miles is catching lots of grief, but he hasn't even had a chance to perform. You know, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, he hasn't, but I do think that some of the criticism, I think there are people who were set out to be critical from the beginning, and I think that that is wrong. They have not looked at this with open eyes, but I think there are people who are critical of the prior administration, prior function of HISD, who've not said much about this, and there have been some interesting things. I mean, you know, looking at administrative staff, it went from 52 senior level staff making $150,000 or more to now 142 making $150,000 or more. Something Republicans have always talked about was bloated administration. He asked for $1 million to be able to be spent without board approval at a time, up from $100,000. They haven't even been in there 90 days. Why are we moving to that yet? There are other things, like when I watched the last board meeting, I was a little frustrated. I think this was a slip up and it could be fixed, but there was a point when the parents were asking him to turn around and speak to them, and he goes, this is a meeting of the board and the public, not a public board meeting. I'm going to keep speaking to the board, and I don't like that. And so we're in a position where we have an appointed administrator, an appointed board, so we do need a little more interaction with the public. You need to earn that public trust, and 90 days in, you don't have it yet, so you need to keep working on that while implementing the reforms.
Shouldn't we judge him on his results, and he won't have results until 1 year?
As a former teacher, what Charles just said was really critical. If you didn't talk to parents when you were a teacher and they found out about it, you could be fired. For him to say, I ain't got to look at you or to talk to you, I got to talk to board, he is a jerk. A J-E-R-K. He's a jerk. You said that the kids are not reading on school on grade level, but you shut down the libraries. That makes no sense. That doesn't make common sense. And then you say, well, if it don't work, we'll find out later. These are babies. These are not rabbits.
We're going to